Hey everyone, welcome to the Portakeeper YouTube channel and one of my first videos at the new Portakeeper studio. Today I have this DF83, and something that I've done on a lot of videos is just open it up, show you what's inside. I don't think we're going to get very deep into this grinder as most of it's the motor, but I want to show you maybe just like a quick comparison of burrs. I've done that in another video, but it was pretty easy to show you. We'll see about how dirty it is on the inside. First things first, make sure it's unplugged. So I have it unplugged right now. I've not really cleaned this. And to begin with, it does have a hopper that you can pull off. I'm using the single dose bellow right now. And one of the newer products at Portakeeper is this anti-popcorn mod. It actually works on any of the DF64 and the DF83 grinders. So pull those out and we will set those aside. And I've been running just a dosing cup with the Portakeeper Turin tilter. Don't do much with the direct dose. I need to be doing that. I think this one will be a little bit cleaner for the direct dosing. And then just to get it so that we can pause the video so you didn't have to see me struggle. I took off this dial indicator that's from Portakeeper as well. And it fits pretty tight on this grinder. I'd say that they fit tight on the DF64. I feel like it fits tighter on this one. So to remove the top burr, zoom, we're just gonna spin this upper burr carrier. We're gonna spin it counterclockwise, exactly the same way as the DF64. Now, the one thing that I have noticed the few times that I've taken this off is just how much more refined the inside of this grinder is. I feel like the people at the Turin factory, they've kind of taken what they've learned on the DF64, which wasn't really that bad to begin with. But like, I always had problems starting my burrs or my threads. As I push this down, I'd always just kind of like try to find where I'm at. This one is just so easy. I just plop it down and give her a spin. So we have our upper ring with our adjustment dials on it. And it has a little bit of grease on it, so watch out. Then we have our upper burr. So that's about how dirty it gets on the upper. It has a little bit different design where on the DF64, you actually had kind of like a triangular pattern. And this one, it actually allows you, instead of going 120 degrees, it allows you to go a full 180. And usually what I recommend doing right off the bat, I'm gonna go grab a Sharpie. Take a Sharpie and mark just one side. If you want the front to be the front, that's fine. But I usually just take it and I'll put like an X or a dot. That way I put it in the same location when I put it back. I don't want to flip it a full 180. Okay, let's take a look inside, and you can see this is really all the grounds that are left inside after not cleaning it. So I've been using this pretty extensively for about 2 weeks now. Let's see if I can tilt down a little bit better. And that is quite clean on the inside. No cleaning, I've just been using it. Bellows after I grind each time, and that's it. Not really been using the hopper, but I'm pretty impressed. I'd say this is better than the DF64. You do have kind of this wavy ring, and kind of jury's out on if it's better or worse than the 3 springs that the DF64 has. But I've not really had any problems with it, so I don't think it's a real big deal at all. Here's the screwdriver. Let's take some of this apart. I'm not gonna take the whole grind chamber apart, but we're gonna take a look at the clump breaker and some other stuff. So again, bear with me. This is my first time taking this apart. I'm pretty sure it's similar to the other grinders. Something new that they've been doing is making it so that this chute comes off via these 2 screws on the top. That's how the DF64E is. I'd say this is a big improvement over the DF64, because if you ever did any of your declumper mods, you had to take the entire base off. This push button was really hard to unscrew the nut on the back. You could take off the fork, that was really easy. And you kind of had to like shimmy this piece up to get to it. Now I'm pretty sure you just take these 2 screws off, and one in the front, maybe. And it just kind of pops off. So there's only 2 screws. You do have this nice chute, and what I like about it, I'm going to reposition it. What I like about it is it starts big and wide at the top so that you have room for your clump breaker and all of that, but it gets narrower as you get down to the end of the chute. So that's a really nice feature, I think, that you didn't really get on some of these other grinders. This one kind of has it. It has like a nice small little mouth opening. The DF64, it's quite a bit bigger. So I'm thinking that this is helping a little bit with some of the, just the, like you can see the grounds in here, just getting stuck in there. And when you use the bellows, it's more of like a focused stream of grounds coming out of the chute versus just kind of going everywhere. To take the chute off the front and get to the clump breakers, there's 2 more screws. I don't want to drop this screw. I should probably get some pliers, but I don't have any over here. And then we'll get this other screw. Oh man. And we'll pull that chute off. So there's a little bit, this isn't really retention, this is kind of some buildup in the grinder. And at least on mine, I don't really have any clump breakers. This is just straight out of the grinder. I don't think it fell in there. Okay, I had some butterfingers. It actually fell down into the grinder when I pulled it out. So there's your clump breakers. Pretty close in design to the DF64E and P, where you have a flap as your outer one, and it just kind of directs the grounds down as it comes out of the grinder. It's hard to see because they're clear. And then this is your main clump breaker. And it's a little bit different of a pattern than the one on the E that I just took apart. The E was kind of like fingers that came in from both sides. This is more of like a star shape. So that's kind of interesting. You can stack them. Let's see, get this the right way. You stack them like so. I know a lot of people are removing one or both from other grinders. So far, I've pretty much just always left mine in the grinder itself. Here is your clear chute. I feel like this is like a really nice improvement over some of the other ones. I'm really digging that. So there's the clump buster. If you end up doing any mods, that's what you'll need to take apart to get to it. It's pretty easy. It took me all of just a few minutes. Personally, I mean, I've had like a little bit of static, but it's also getting pretty dry this time of year. So maybe just like a little spritz of water. Use like either your dosing cup and put just a little bit of water in, or get an external dosing boat or something like that. Put a little bit of water and you won't get any static. I kind of don't like doing that. I don't really like water going into these burrs and into my grinder, but it's just so minute that I don't think it really matters. I'm probably not going to remove the fork. I don't really see a need to. It has a hex head in it versus the others have always had Phillips head screws. But if you need to remove the fork for whatever reason, it's just one screw. You really don't gain access to anything. You can see the grind chamber. Let me move this. You can see the grind chamber just kind of sits atop of this motor. Someone asked, like, whoa, what if you get grounds into the motor? It's really not a big deal. A lot of grinders that I've taken apart are like this. So all your grounds are going to be up here. They're going to come out. There's really not that many ways to get grounds in there anyway. My K30, when I got it used, it was like clear full of grounds. Not ideal, but I don't really see that happening with this. There's your opening. You can have your wipers as they go by for pushing the grounds out. And then there's your top burr. You can tell it's pretty clean. I had to turn it upside down to get those pieces out, but we didn't really have that much fall out. Your little dust cover for the spout, and it just kind of fits on the front when you put it back on. Like I've said about this whole lineup of grinders, they're just very simple grinders, easy to work on, not like you'll really need to ever do much work on them, but you could if you needed to. Take these little rubber stoppers off before I end up losing them. And we'll flip this upside down. I'm assuming this is just like the other DF64s with these press down feet. You should probably never need to get in here, but there's some adhesive feet on the bottom. We'll pry those off. Really stuck on. And then we'll unscrew these 4 screws. So a nice little plastic dust cover. Make sure to hang on to all 4 screws, put them aside. And this is just very basic, bare bones basic on the inside. Has a starting capacitor, has the motor itself through that little hole, and then just power switch. So you hit the button and it turns on, you hit it again and it turns off. So wide open space on the inside. I have noticed a lot of people complained about this button on the front. So what they did was they put it in the side, which makes this front lip quite a bit bigger, makes it a little bit more of a substantial grinder. So that's kind of an improvement. If you have anything next to it, depending on which side, it might be a little difficult to reach, but really hasn't been a big deal for me so far. But that's just kind of this grinder in a nutshell, disassembled. Pretty basic grinder. This grinder was supplied by Espresso Outlet. Make sure to check out espressooutlet.net. And it's also sponsored by Portakeeper. So this is one of the products that I'm proud of. So we have the Portakeeper lineup over here, and there's a lot of things that aren't hung on the wall yet that I need to get hung up so that I can display them for videos and such. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about the DF83. It's a pretty unique grinder. I've been really happy with it so far. Just kind of a quick final recap. These massive 83 millimeter burrs that's on the inside is a game changer for just some classic espresso. So these are the same that are used in the Mazzer Major, I believe, and the DF64 uses the Mazzer Super Jolly burrs. These are Italmill burrs, but they're pretty much an identical copy of the cut pattern that Mazzer has used. So it's nice tool steel. These aren't the SSP. Everyone always asks if they're stock. For right now, all I have are the stock Ital mill burrs. But pretty cool grinder. I need to be doing a couple more things. I've had a couple questions pop up in YouTube chats about particle distribution and some other stuff. Just a quick note, I've been using like this DF64E. It has the SSP multi-purpose burrs in it, and I've been using it for like your natural process, real fruity beans, and this thing just screams. Even though they're smaller burrs, it's really amazing coffee. I've been using this for pretty much everything else, and you get more of that slightly more viscous mouthfeel. You get more of that, like I said earlier, like a more homogeneous, less unimodal, crisp, trying to think of the word. It's just not as unimodal. So you're not gonna pick out that real specific flavor. You're gonna get more of an array of flavors, which on a lot of beans, that's something that you want. Now, a lot of people, they end up liking like the conical burrs, and you get that extremely wide array of flavors. It's really hard to pick out any distinctive flavors. I don't get that here. It's just a nice balance in my opinion. So I've been using the Atom 75 for years. I'd say this is very close to the Atom 75. I've used the Kyoto E37 with 83 millimeter burrs, and I think I prefer this one over that. And then I've used like the compact, I think it was the F8. I had the 83 millimeter burrs, and I'd say this is pretty similar to the compact in terms of flavor. So I think it's like 600 bucks, 700 bucks for this grinder. Atom 75 alone is about 1,500. You might be able to get it for 12 or 1,300, either used or maybe with quite a bit of shipping on top of that. So for about half the price, you're getting a little bit more burr surface area and a really similar taste in the cup. Now, day to day, I like electronic dosing. I feel like this, it works well. The Atom 75 is just so fast that I prefer the 75 over this if I don't want the multi-purpose unimodal burrs. Just because it's so fast and so easy to use. So if I'm getting up and I just want to pull a couple shots, 75 is pretty neat. But I've been using this, and just it really doesn't take that much more time to dose out a couple doses. I feel like the workflow is maybe like a little bit easier than DF64, and I don't know why. I think it's because this takes about 5 to 6 seconds to grind, where this takes maybe 10 to 15 seconds. And I think that's why I feel like the workflow is faster and easier on this, even though overall the workflow is the same. So it's just kind of like this perceived workflow difference. Atom 75, you just throw your portafilter in, and 3.5 seconds later it's dosed, it's fluffy. So not a whole lot of messing around, but it's also double the cost. And I've really not been using the 75 and kind of turned to this quite a bit recently. So that's how you take it apart. That's what's inside. That's what you're getting on this grinder. Let me know in the comments. Please subscribe. Please check out Espresso Outlet and portakeeper.com. Thanks for watching.